Here we go. Spawning in the top left-hand corner here of Ruby Rock, we have the German Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss representing Sentinels. It is ShoWTimE. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the South Korean Protoss player, the red Protoss representing Team Vitality. It is Zoun. Here we go. Here we go. So getting into our PvP. We finally have a break from the non-stop Terran versus Protoss. Let's go, baby, let's go. We can take a break. Welcome to Ruby Rock. Ruby Rock is one of the smaller maps in the map pool. Smaller map aggression here is favored, and we'll see how that applies here. Mirror matchups are a little bit different, just because we could still kind of take things a little bit slower. I mentioned earlier that Zoun is typically much more aggressive in this matchup, but that is specifically against the other top Korean Protosses. I don't know if he feels the same way about ShoWTimE. So far, 2-gate open out of Zoun, 2-gate open out of ShoWTimE. No one is mixing up their openers, no one is going for any kind of initial proxy, and no one is going for an initial gateway into Cybercore either. As we have our initial probes scattered across the map. Getting eyes on any hidden pylons. Oh. I saw that. Hold on. Okay, just scouting. Just gonna be scouting. Again, ShoWTimE gets in, trying to force some inefficient mining, does confirm the second pylon, and likewise, Zoun does the same. Zoun sees the second pylon in the main base, so both players are aware there's no proxy. No proxy, no shenanigans. Not yet. So from here, we should be expanding. It is going to be a Stalker Sentry opener out of Zoun, and the same can be said for ShoWTimE. This is kind of like the standard go-to. Ooh, Zoun gets locked into the main, so better start here for ShoWTimE. He locks down the probe. With this, he can focus it down, he can get a kill, or even force a recall. ShoWTimE goes to the pylon block. ShoWTimE with this pylon block able to confirm that it's going to be a Sentry Stalker opener. He knows. Again, ShoWTimE killed the probe. Now we have our expansions. Oh, ShoWTimE being a little bit more active. Okay. I mean, it makes sense just because Zoun has less scouting information. And ShoWTimE is rallying. He's rallying across. Sets up the proxy pylon. He's going to be reinforcing. We mentioned this earlier at the start of this series, how ShoWTimE is a lot more aggressive in PvP and willing to be cheesy, willing to be all in. We're seeing some of that here. Even going for the hallucinations, trying to tank those shots. He's here to tank those volleys. Going for the battery. Does go for the battery. Already does tank one volley. Has to respect those force fields. Has to respect it. ShoWTimE doesn't want to get locked in, but here come the reinforcements, here come the warpins. Force fields catch the sentry. Ooh, they trade. They trade 1-to-1. Another sentry arrives, he has a force field available. And ShoWTimE, can he break through? Again, that shield battery is putting in a lot of work. And ShoWTimE doesn't have enough. Yeah, he doesn't have enough. ShoWTimE pulls away, and we macro. There was potential for sure. If ShoWTimE was able to lock down some of these units and force field in a Stalker, a Sentry, then maybe, but alas, ShoWTimE failed to do so. I would say ShoWTime's in a slightly worse position just because he had committed this hard into aggression, but there is potential to recover with these adepts. Remember, 2 adepts, they one-shot probes. They one-shot workers, we can shade into a mineral line, and ShoWTimE can find some damage. Here comes a shade. No probe. Yeah, no probe in position. No wall off. Behind this, both players getting into blink. Robo's on the way for Zoun. ShoWTimE, we should be seeing a Robo taking a risk. So ShoWTimE, he's going for a third base before Robo. This is greedy. So a greedy play here by ShoWTimE. Does go for his third. Now, what does this mean? It means that if Zoun went for a Dark Shrine, if he went for DTs, like ShoWTimE would just lose. It'd just be an instant GG. So it is a little bit risky. Zoun playing it safer. But it does look like ShoWTimE had to cut that corner to be able to keep up with Zoun, just because of the commitment into all these Stalkers in the proxy. That's why you can see the third bases are lined up. It's because ShoWTimE was behind after the failed aggression. Even here, ShoWTimE going for the Forge, still not going for the Robo. Getting into faster upgrades. As he pokes out, remember both players have Blink. ShoWTimE still has the higher Stalker count, so he can take a fight. He still has the larger army. Ooh, gets a sentry. Nice pickup. Sentry goes down. At the same time, it updates Shade into the natural. Gets one, gets two. Only two, though. So there is a battery. So two probes go down. Not the best pickups here by ShoWTimE. But at least got the sentry. And again, ShoWTimE has a much faster upgrade. Faster +1. Faster upgrades, Stalkers, they do commit in. ShoWTimE going to try to break, Zoun going to try to break ShoWTimE before he can get into his upgrades. Yeah, the batteries are still on the way, and Zoun, he is pushing through. And he doesn't. Yeah, he has broken him. Again, the batteries are just too late. Too little, too late. Zoun is getting to the middle line. Boys are being pulled. Just too many Stalkers here. And GG gets called. GG gets called. Zoun punishing ShoWTimE, and Zoun takes game number 1. GG. Again, ShoWTimE was trying to be aggressive earlier on, and we did mention how he failed to be aggressive, so the aggression did fail. That's why he was cutting corners to catch back up, to get into his faster third base, and unfortunately, because he was investing into production, gateways, forge, upgrades, the third, he wasn't quite able to be ready in time for the earlier push of Zoun. GG. GG, well played. Zoun does take a lead in the series, does take game number 1, and ShoWTimE caught with his pants down. Caught with his pants down, but also punished for the earlier attempted aggression that did fail. With that, we're now getting into game 2. Going to be a much smaller map here, and we'll see if ShoWTimE calms down, or we'll see if he commits a little bit harder. As we're loading into a much, much smaller map, going to be loading into Tourmaline. Let's go. As spawning in the top right-hand corner of Tourmaline, we have the German Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss for Sentinels. It is ShoWTimE. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Protoss player, the red Protoss himself from South Korea. It is Zoun. Representing Team Vitality. Here we go. So we are going to be settling in. Again, after what happened last game, I would imagine that ShoWTimE will calm down, right? I would imagine that he's not going to go for the proxy pylon, not going to go for the extra Stalker warpins. I imagine he's going to be slowing things down. But on a map like Tourmaline, I don't know if you can. True. Don't know if you can, Babby. As we have Zoun going for his probe scout. I believe ShoWTimE doesn't scout. Bold move out of ShoWTimE, but he will skip the scout entirely. ShoWTimE, he sees nothing, he knows nothing. Zoun will be able to confirm the placement of the second pylon, and for all ShoWTimE knows, there could be another pylon here, there could be a proxy, there could be an all-in coming his way. Yeah, going for a delayed scout. We can see that ShoWTimE doesn't really have anything to be worried about. There's that second pylon. Zoun pulls away. As both players do pylon block, so far we're selling in. When it comes to initial openers here, it's going to be Stalker Sentry out of ShoWTimE. We have Zoun opening up with an earlier Adept. This allows him to move out, to scout, to poke in, to threaten. A little bit more of an active style here from Zoun. ShoWTimE continuing with extra sentries. The Adept is moving in. Adept will actually slip in towards the main. Does give it to the shade. Hallucination scouts everything. We have both players going to their Twilight Councils. Once again, both players getting into Blink. Zoun does zone a ShoWTimE back. Forces him to waste some force fields. Otherwise, we're settling in. Again, because of the triple sentry opener, it tells me that ShoWTimE should have non-stop hallucinations. Just non-stop scouting. Once again, Zoun is going for the safety Robo. Robo before third. ShoWTimE is going for the third before Robo again? Not this time. Not this time. There's that Robo out of ShoWTimE as well. So both players are building up. At this point, there's a higher chance we can get into the mid-game here. As Zoun does throw down extra gateways, getting up to 6. Oof, that's a hefty gateway count on 2 bases, so 6 gates set up here out of Zoun. We're going for the Prism. Yep, Prism, 2 base all in. 2 base all in here. Zoun is going to commit, going to double down instead of expanding extra gateways. And this hallucination should be able to confirm. Awkward path. He doesn't see the gates. Doesn't see the gateways yet. He does rally back around. There we go, sees 2 extra gateways here on the low ground, but he's seen only 4 so far. That's not a tell. But the lack of third base is true. Lack of third expansion. Immortal production has begun. Again, thankfully, because it didn't skip the Robo, he does have some safety Immortals. So Immortals on the way. He's got 1 shield battery here at the third base. The all-in is coming. Zoun is moving out. Remember, he has 6 gateways. There it is. He worked in 4. There's the other 2. The Immortal is going to be a big factor in the defense. At the same time, Adept is going to be shading towards that natural. Zoun picks in. Zoun picks in. Warping in more Stalkers. And it's all or nothing for Zoun. He has to break through. He has to try to break through here. Now there's a second Immortal. Yeah, second Immortal has arrived. This is looking more and more dire here for Zoun. He blinks on over. The Immortals are out of position. Very nice force fields. Okay. Zones away the army. Picks off like 2-3 Stalkers. Dives on the Immortals. He gets 1. Takes down one, trying to go for the other as well, and the Immortal is barely not going to go down. Ay, ay, ay. The Immortal survives. And ShoWTimE is holding. Yeah, ShoWTimE is holding on. Oof. Immortal goes down, but now there's another taking space. GG gets called, the all-in fails, and ShoWTimE ties up the series 1-1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Again, Zoun committed into the 2-base all-in, going for a 6-gate setup on 2 bases. It was all or nothing. Thankfully, ShoWTimE went for the earlier robo, so he had Immortal production, and you saw how important, how crucial those Immortals were in the defense. That was the backbone of the army there for ShoWTimE, and it was able to barely hold on, had the clutch energy overcharge, saved the Immortal, and with that, won the game. GG. GG, well played. Did take it from there, and now we're going all the way to the ace match. Going to the ace match. Going to game 3. The final game of the series, the final game of the broadcast, the final game to determine who will join Clem in the next round in the playoffs. We're here to find out. Spawning in the top left-hand corner of Title Citadel, we have the German Protoss player, the Blue Protoss, representing Sentinels. It is ShoWTimE. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the red Protoss player, the South Green Protoss, representing Team Vitality. It is Zoun. Here we go. All he really committed was a single pylon proxy and he's a warp in anyways. Or he proxied the pylon and he committed to extra Stalker warp ins. Instead of having like a greater economy and a greater defensive setup, if you're referring to game 1. I'm referring to those extra warp-ins earlier on, which does like kind of hurt you getting into a longer game. But I guess it is more important that, like, again, he was investing into gateways, the forge, the upgrades, like investing into kind of other factors instead of having a defensive setup. True, true. But I believe that's in reference to game 1. Reference to game 1. Because now we're getting into that ace match. And so far, no proxies. No proxies. We have ShoWTimE going for the earlier probe scouts. ShoWTimE gets eyes on the second pylon. Likewise, Zoun will soon do the same. From here, waiting for our first units of choice. Ooh, okay, the first big deviation. ShoWTimE opening up double adept. Okay, double adept here at a ShoWTimE. Remember, 2 adepts can one-shot probes, so the goal here is to try to shade past the army and shade into a mineral line. From here, we can double down and go for a third and fourth adept, and even a 5th and 6th adept as well. So we could just double down and commit quite hard. Yep, it's going to be adepts with Stargate as well before expansion. So very aggressive opener here by ShoWTimE. Adept aggression and oracles as well. So adepts and oracles going to be moving out. This will delay the expand. At the same time, ShoWTimE gets a pylon block. Okay. Blocks the nexus. Does block the base. And we can see here it's only going to be 2 adepts. Okay. Doesn't commit to an extra wave. Only 2 adepts. Hallucination Scout out of Zoun will confirm everything. Sees the expansion and confirms the Stargate. Now it's going to be more difficult for ShoWTimE to find some damage. Adepts say threaten a shade. We do have the probe in position to block. And there's that shield battery in the main base as well. Remember, a shield battery is enough to out-heal the damage output of an oracle and buy time. So there's that battery. When it comes to the math and how that works, 2 oracles one-shot. So if we bank up the oracle and get a second oracle, we can one-shot probes. But no, is only going for the singular oracle. Okay. So it doesn't commit too hard into oracles, but at the same time, like, this is still a decent investment here. Going for the oracles, going for the adepts. We'll see if this can pay for itself. Oh, he gets in. Uh-oh. Okay, he threatens a shade. Oracle is deflected. Adepts as well. ShoWTimE doesn't get in, even losing one of the Adepts. Ay, ay, ay. The Oracle goes further into the bases. And maybe gets one? No, not even. Yeah, not even. The shield is in position, fails to get damage done. Rough start here for ShoWTimE. As he tries to go back in, gets a revelation off. Behind this, getting into Blink. Throwing down a third gateway. And we'll see if Zoun techs or if he expands. As Blink has not yet started. No. Zoun, he has the money for it, by the way. He's going for the faster third base. I'm hoping that, okay, now he does notice. Late Blink. Oof. Late Blink here for Zoun. He had the tech in position, but he was distracted by the Oracle. Like, the Oracle, the Adepts, even though they didn't get damage done, they did successfully distract Zoun and did disrupt his build. Now there's going to be a window. There's going to be a window in time where ShoWTimE is Blink and Zoun does not. And we'll see if ShoWTimE can make use of that window. ShoWTimE does expand, so he's not going for a 2-base all-in. He'll expand. He's moving out. Remember, ShoWTimE has a little more micro potential. As Blink is finishing up in 5 seconds. Zoun will have some force fields. Force fields are going to be available. Breaking in. Gets a gateway. Gateway goes down. You can see him trying to bait the army into a stasis trap as well. Adepts there looking to harass on the right hand side. Remember, ShoWTime's third base is very delayed in comparison to Zoun, so there's a lot of pressure on ShoWTime to find some damage. Oh, gets a sentry, baits him in. A nice bait. Stasis goes off. Adepts, they don't quite commit yet. Zoun is keeping up. Zoun is keeping up with the aggression. Third base now getting up for ShoWTimE. And Zoun now he has Blink. We've got Blink, we've got the upgrades. Now, even though ShoWTimE didn't get much damage done with the Oracle in the early game, like, these stasis traps still have potential. Speaking of, Jesus. Speaking of, it does have the Observer. The Observer moves in, stasis traps are cleared up. Whew. ShoWTimE still trying to keep Zoun on the back foot. Oh. As the Oracle gets sniped. Nice snipe on the Oracle. What was that up? Say juice in towards that natural. 5 probes going down. Nice damage by ShoWTimE. Nice damage, nice harass. Even catching Zoun out of position, forcing a cancellation. Okay. ShoWTimE is popping up. Cancels the 4th base. Gets 5 probe kills. And gets his own. ShoWTime's own 4th base is almost done. As he rotates once again. Dark Shrine is on the way. Let's go. Getting into DTs. Zoun, he's able to keep over the rotation this time. Picks off the stasis trap. And again, that was the final stasis trap for ShoWTimE. He lost the Oracle earlier. Zoun is looking to stabilize. Now, Zoun is getting into a much more traditional composition. We have charge lots, we have stalkers, and we have archons on the way. Temple Archives into Archon production. I believe there is a robot, but there's no immortal production yet. But Zoun is kind of getting into that traditional kind of mid-game composition of Charge Dot, Stalker, Immortal, Archon. Meanwhile, ShoWTimE is getting there a little bit more delayed. Later Robo, later Temple Archives, or later Tech, but he's going for the earlier Dark Shrine. DTs have some potential. There are 2 observers on the map. We have one in the center and we have one towards the left hand side. There is a way across the map to get into these mineral lines. There's potential for DTs, but I spoke too soon. Safety cannons. Cannon on the right hand side. We have a cannon here. Sorry, there's 2 cannons. One here on the right hand side, the other on the left. So there's not many ways in. To ShoWTimE even going into Shadow Stride. Okay, that's rarely seen. Base trade. The armies, they miss each other completely. Oh my god, ShoWTimE, he does hit the 4th base. At the same time, Zoun, he hits the 3rd. Oh boy. Yeah, we just committed. The armies, they just pass by each other completely. Bases are going down. Zoun, he ignores the 3rd. I like this. He ignores the 3rd base, is going straight for the natural instead. What is scary though about this base trade though is the Dark Shrine. DTs, they could actually be a big factor here. If detection is focused down. Zoun going further into the main. Depower some of the gateways. Spots the Dark Shrine. Can he deny some of these upgrades? ShoWTimE also going in. Yeah, also diving in as well. Everything's getting depowered. A +2 will be denied for both players. And we have 1 Dark Templar. There's one DT on the right hand side. There is an observer with the main army of Zoun. He has the observer. ShoWTimE, he throws down a ninja base. He has Nexus. And Zoun has enough money for 1 as well. Zoun, he evacuates his probes. He should also get Nexus as well. As the bases are being traded. Now we need to take a moment to take stock here of the main army. So we do have a higher Stalker count for ShoWTimE. We have a higher Zealot count for ShoWTimE as well. He just has a large army. ShoWTimE, we have equivalent upgrades at larger army for ShoWTimE. ShoWTimE setting up cannons and shield batteries here at his ninja base. Zoun running out of buildings. He does have a pylon top right. We need a Nexus somewhere. He's throwing down more pylons. There we go. Nexus in the center. And the problem is that Zoun has not seen the base. And I don't think he's aware of the size of the army either. Now, in a head-on fight, we have to favor ShoWTimE, for sure. But there is a world, there's a chance that maybe ShoWTimE fights with half his army, right? If he rotates, if he tries to hunt down the final buildings, if he moves out, then there's a chance he might get caught. So have that DT looking for bases. Zoun expanding top right as well. Something that might influence this is that Zoun does have all of his workers with his army as well. But so does ShoWTimE somewhat. ShoWTimE can pull the boys. They spot each other. Zealot's out of position for ShoWTimE. So better start to the fight for Zoun. Softens up some of these stalkers. Yeah, he has the high ground as well. Initially better engage. Does kite back. And very patient play here by Zoun, pulling back those zealots, attacking with the stalkers, taking advantage of the high ground. So much free damage. Oh my god. So much free damage here. Again, ShoWTimE, he chose to expand here next to the high ground. Like he has to stand and fight in this position. Ay. Remember, ShoWTimE, he still does have the larger army. Zoun pulls away. Once again, free damage on those zealots. ShoWTimE, he does have an economy though. He's able to warping in DTs. But there's detection. Yeah, there is detection here. DT's going to be cleaned up. Ooh, Zoun is running out of zealots. Zoun, he's running out of zealots here. And Zoun, he's been trading well for himself. He has been out trading even, but it might just not be enough. Yeah, ShoWTimE is still up in stalkers. Zoun trying to push further in. I mean, again, these shield barriers have been helping. GG gets called. The batteries, the cannon, the defensive setup here was still too good. And ShoWTimE, he will take the series 2-1 over Zoun. GG. GG, well played. Very impressive play there towards the end out of Zoun. Again, he had the smaller army to work with, but he was out trading ShoWTimE. But remember, ShoWTimE, he had the shield batteries, had the cannons, he had extra warp bins available there as well, and he was able to survive. He was able to eventually clean up all those zealots and eventually get on top of the stalkers. GG, well played. As ShoWTimE does claim the series, he will advance on, and Zoun is out of the tournament. Zoun and Bunny are out. ShoWTimE and Clem are in. They're in the playoffs. GG, well played. Congratulations. Congratulations here to ShoWTimE as we catch up on the group itself. Un momento here, but again, very close, very clutch towards the end. Congratulations, Clem. Clem took down ShoWTimE initially 2-1. Clem took down Zoun 2-0 to be the first way to make it through. And ShoWTimE, he took down Bunny 2-1 and took down Zoun 2-1 as well. Went all the way to the ace match. A lot of ace matches here in tonight's broadcast. And ShoWTimE barely brought down both Bunny and Zoun to also make it through into the main event, into the playoffs. So GG, well played. Congratulations to ShoWTimE and Clem. My condolences to Bunny and Zoun as they are out of the tournament. And with that, that is Group B concluding. Remember, 4 groups in total. We have 4 groups in total here tonight in around 6 hours or 5.5 hours time, which is not a lot of time, by the way. I have a little bit of time to make some food, to make some dinner, get ready, and also take care of the bunnies as well, and get ready for the next cast. But in 5.5 hours, we're going to be live with Group C. Group C is going to be later on tonight, and Group D is going to be tomorrow. We'll be covering it tomorrow morning. So again, it's still 4 groups in total. If you missed out on Group A, we casted Group A yesterday, so you can check it out over on YouTube. Check out the VODs. Thanks for casting this. I wasn't able to cover it live. It's all good, Pappy. It's all good. All good. Crazy games, man. Crazy games. Yeah, GG, well played. And again, very intense back and forth here, and I hope you'll enjoy yourselves. Hope you all had a great time. Oh, I should actually go back here. When it comes to our schedule this week, we have been adjusting a little bit here. Again, as I mentioned before, it's a bit of an IRL update, which is a little bit unfortunate, but we've had some medical issues with our pet bunnies, and that has taken up a lot of our time. That's why in January we actually have barely casted, at least compared to what we usually do. Usually we're casting like twice a day, every single day, but we've had a lot of quote-unquote days off. I say days off. It's been a very stressful month. It's been very, very stressful when it comes to what's been happening with our bunnies. I did leave an update on Discord, I want to say like a week ago, maybe 2 weeks ago. But basically, when we went in at the start of the year to have our bunnies desexed, we found that something was wrong with one of our bunnies. Their heart rate was lower. Their heart rate was lower than normal, was abnormally low. She was given like a muscle relaxant, and it went down even further, just like a dangerously low heart rate. So something was clearly wrong. Because of that, she could not go under anesthesia. Otherwise, her life would be at risk. X-rays were had, like we had some X-rays done to try to figure out what's going on, to get eyes on her heart. Her heart seemed to be enlarged, like her heart was abnormally large. It looks like a genetic thing, which caused her lower heart rates, which like caused all these issues. So then we had to go to a vet hospital. We had to see a bunny cardiologist, which are quite rare, and there's not many of them, so we had to try to schedule for that, to get an EKG, to get an EKG done, to get an ultrasound done, to get some more imaging done, to try to figure out what was going on. Eventually we got a CT scan as well. Like it was all this stuff, todo este vaina, papi. And in the end, it does seem like she's going to be okay. Thankfully, shout out to those at the vet hospital for, of course, like figuring out what was going on. They basically were able to determine that it was safe to like give her some drugs to like increase her heart rate, to make it safe to undergo surgery as well, so that she'd be able to survive something like that. The CT scan revealed that it actually wasn't a heart issue that was causing her lower heart rate. It looks like it was a respiratory issue instead, which was actually pressing against a nerve that led to the hearts, so that's why that was happening. And we still have to confirm like what exactly caused that, and what is pushing against that, what is causing those issues as well. It's causing her to be prone to heart attacks, to be prone to fainting, to have issues breathing at times as well. So there's like all these things that are happening because of that. And as I mentioned before, she's going to be undergoing an operation and undergoing surgery on Thursday, and she's going to be staying overnight, and we're going to be picking up on Friday. Now, for StarCraft, unfortunately, what that means is, what is this Friday? Home Story Cup. Home Story Cup is this Friday, and we have been the B stream for Home Story Cup for like the past 5 editions. We've been the B stream, but because this is kind of overlapping with what's been happening IRL, I won't be able to cast Home Story Cup. It's a bit of a shame, again, just because we've been casting Home Story Cup for a couple of years now, but we won't be able to cast it live. Most likely we'll be covering it via replays. We'll probably just do a replay cast maybe next week, maybe the week after that instead, but we will not be able to cast it live, which is a shame. That might mean that Home Story Cup won't have a B stream. Maybe Dave Testa or Chicken Man or Steadfast or one of these other guys can step in. Usually we're the B stream. Maybe someone else can step in and be the B stream instead. But yeah, we won't be able to, just because, especially when it comes to bunnies post operation. Hopefully it goes well, and if it does go well, it can be a little bit dangerous for them, because you have to make sure they're eating, you have to make sure they're eating, you have to make sure that they're drinking, you have to make sure that they're okay, you have to make sure that they don't like try to like lick or like disrupt their wound either, so they can heal well, so there's no like inflammation, there's no swelling, there's no ulcers, there's no issues. So like yeah, gonna be with our bunnies to make sure they're okay. So unfortunately, that means we won't be able to cast Home Story Cup. That's also why we have been casting less this year in January, just because there's been a lot of vet visits, there's been a lot of appointments, there's been a lot of monitoring our bunnies as well, and all that stuff. So it's been a very stressful year. It's been it's been a very, very stressful year. And if you want to help us out, you don't have to, but the vet bills have been insane. I want to say we've spent like $4,000 on vet bills. Like the CT scan alone was like $2,500. The ultrasound was like $600. The EKG was like $300. Like it all adds up. It was insanely expensive. So that's also been a big blow, and the fact that we haven't been able to cast either. So if you want to help us out, you can. Otherwise, don't feel the need to. We're okay. You know, we'll do what we can for our bunnies. They're our bunnies. They're our bunnies, man. Yeah. So yeah. So it is going to be a rough road to recovery. Because of all this as well, our two bunnies are separated. For those who don't know, bunnies, they bond and they have, you know, and they forge these relationships. But if you separate them for too long, their bond gets broken. We have two bunnies, and right now they are separated from each other. So because of that, they have become, even though they've been together for like 5 months, their bond has been broken, so that has to be mended again. That's also going to be a big thing as well, is to have them spend some time with each other and you know, rebuild that bond, because right now because they've been separated, they're a little bit more territorial and a little bit more aggressive with each other. Also because one of our bunnies, the one with issues, hasn't been desexed, she's a lot more hormonal and a little more aggressive, not to us but to the other bunny as well. Just because bunnies can be very territorial like that, and that's one of the reasons why you also want to get them desexed as well, is because of they can be quite hormonal at times. So they are separated, and it's gonna be also a journey as well to try to rebond them and reconnect them. That's also why I have to spend more time with them as well, because they're a little bit more lonely than they used to be, because they're apart from each other. It's like I gotta be there so they don't get like depressed or anything like that either. Like it's all this stuff. So yeah, it's been a rough January. It's been very rough January, papi. But we'll make it through. You know, coming into March, we should be back onto casting. March should be, you know, full-time casting again. Shouldn't be any issues. March will be amazing. But January and coming into February has been rough, and yeah, bunny cardiologist, yeah. All the best for the ones. They seem to be good. Yeah, I mean, we care them. We're doing our best to look after them. We're doing our best. They're okay. But that's also why we haven't had bunny cams either, because like they are a little bit separated. We don't really want to show that. Once everything's back on track, then we can show them again. We can have bunny cam. just gather the prognosis for medicine is good. Yeah, like it seems good. Obviously, there's always risk when it comes to operations, so that's a little bit stressful. There's always risk that comes to that. Always risk, but yeah, they're being looked after. Being looked after. I missed the bunny cam. Ah, one day it'll come back. It'll come back. But otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Again, our next broadcast should be this evening. It should be in around 5 hours. In around 5 hours time, we should be live with Rongyi Cup Group C. Should be live with Group C, and tomorrow we're going to be live with Group D as well. And again, we should be able to wrap up Rongyi Cup, but again, coming into this upcoming weekend, we won't be able to cast Home Story Cup. The recovery period of bunnies is around like 10 days, So for those 10 days as well, I'm probably going to be casting a little bit less, just to, you know, monitor, just look after them as well. So just as a heads up, shout out to all those that have been concerned. We've been getting a lot of messages about our lack of casting just because it's so abnormal. I even had some casters. Shout out to Enki and shout out to Cosmos. Cosmos, he's the main Brazilian caster, and Enki's the main Spanish caster out there, and they both send me messages being like, hey, are you okay? Like, we've noticed you haven't been casting. Some of our viewers have been asking about you as well, and it's like, we're close to the Latin American scene, but it was really cool, and I appreciated that both Cosmos and Enki reached out. Much love to Cosmos, much love to Enki. El hermoso, papi, el hermoso. Ay, ay, ay. But yeah, with that, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. We do appreciate it, and we'll see you guys in 5 hours for some more StarCraft. See you then. Until then, thanks for watching. Ciao, papi, ciao. Hasta luego. Hasta luego.